Did you know the #1 beer fest in North America takes place right outside of Houston in Katy? Yep, the popular Wild West Brew Fest is happening March 27th through the 29th, and it's bigger than ever. They're going to have over 100 vendors and brewers, so your hands are going to be full with amazing beer and wines all weekend long. And the best part, the festival supports charitable organizations with their net proceeds, so you're doing some good while enjoying some brews. Tickets are on sale right now at wildwestbrewfest.com. That's wildwestbrewfest.com. The Imprint Margaret Root Brown Reading Series is proud to announce a night with two renowned poets, Jennifer Chang, who won the William Carlos Williams Award, and Naomi Shihab Nye, National Book Award finalist and former U.S. Young People's Poet Laureate. Hear them both live on March 3rd at the Alley Theater. Tickets are only $5 and free for students and seniors. There's also going to be a book sale thanks to Brazos Bookstore and a book signing where you can meet the authors. Visit imprint.org for more details. That's imprint.org. Rodeo Week on CityCast Houston is brought to you by DestinationBryan.com. Located just a short drive away from Houston, Bryan, Texas is a legend reborn, featuring unique businesses, amazing food, and ton of free activities, so you can plan the perfect day trip or weekend getaway. Stay tuned until the end of the episode because we have a special rodeo tip from DestinationBryan.com. Today on CityCast Houston. This week marks the 30th anniversary of the most famous concert in rodeo history, when Tejano superstar Selena took the stage at the Astrodome. I'm bringing on Joey Guerra, music critic at the Houston Chronicle, to talk about why Selena's legacy still lives on decades later. It's Tuesday, February 25th. I'm Rahil Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Joey, you're the biggest Selena fan that I know. I think the biggest one ever, okay? Let's just say that right now. You attended not only one, not two, but all three of her record-breaking concerts at the Rodeo in the 90s, and I'm sure they were all amazing, but that last performance in 95, it was so magical, so iconic. What was so special about it?
It's so weird because I wasn't actually planning to go to that show because I hadn't gotten a ticket. My friend called me that day and was like, hey, I have an extra ticket. Do you want to go? I was like, yes, of course. And this was one of my friends from high school, known each other for years. And we were both so excited because it was rodeo. It was Go Tejano Day. You know, people were expecting music in Spanish. And I remember my friend, she was like, why is she doing all these songs in English?
What?
And I remember that so clearly, her saying that to me.
First I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I
mean, she started the show with a medley of disco songs in English, which to my knowledge and from shows I had seen in the past of hers, she'd never done before. Because the medley was like 8 minutes long. I mean, it was long. And, you know, and I think the outfit as well, I mean, the purple outfit, I mean, that was a different sort of look than I think what we were used to from her. Yeah. It was a little more polished. It was a little more pop star. We were both standing up and dancing. And I do remember seeing people with signs in the crowd, you know, like with her name and stuff, which you don't see a lot at rodeo. And it just felt different and for some reason. I mean, back then I didn't know why, right? I mean, I was just thinking, wow, this feels big and momentous and important in a lot of ways. You know, I just remember, but as soon as she came on stage, the energy just like shot up like crazy. And it just stayed there the whole time. My friend was waiting for the Spanish songs. Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, when she starts doing her songs, the Spanish songs that have made her who she was at that point, I mean, everybody's singing along and, you know, the energy was just so high and intense. I mean, now when I think back, it really felt like she's really at the point where this is going to go somewhere else. This is going to go somewhere bigger and better. When you're in a live setting, you feel that. You feel it in your body. You feel it in the air. You feel it when you look around. I remember looking down at the rows and rows of people, and it just felt like everybody was like literally lit up, you know, like everybody was glowing from the inside or something. It sounds weird and maybe corny, but I remember that so specifically, looking out to the right, and everybody just looked like ready to blast into the air, like it just, it's that energy that I think you feel sometimes in a live concert setting.
It's funny you mentioned that. And that was the same feeling I had when Beyonce played before she
Yeah.
became the superstar, right? And
Yeah.
I remember leaving that concert with my brother and his friends, and we were like, oh, she's about to become a superstar.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
So that makes me wonder, if the tragic death of Selena didn't happen, how big would she have been?
Right. Right. And that's the question. And I think that's the question that fuels this continual interest and love and fuels her legacy, the what if, because we're seeing parts of the what if in, Mac launching the makeup line and, the Netflix series and things like that. But, yeah, what if she was still around? What would she be doing?
Yeah, that's such a hard question to answer. But, I think about new Selena fans, diehard Selena fans, and this iconic performance is one that they always go watch. It's become a part of her legacy. It's become one of the marquee concerts, right? Like when you go to YouTube, you put in Selena, that is what comes up. And I can't answer what she was going to be or how big, but if this concert is still relevant now today, it kind of does answer it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's, there have been hundreds, thousands of rodeo shows. And I think the average person might know that George Strait performed there, maybe Beyonce and Selena. I mean, but Selena really is, I think, the one, you're right, that comes up the most frequently, that people mention the most.
But like, why? Why is it so legendary? Like, I can't put my finger on it. Everything you detailed makes sense, but still, with all that said, through time, those feelings go away. The moment goes away for so many iconic shows. But
Right.
this one at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, it's still legendary.
I mean, I think the obvious answer is, she died a month later, not even 2 months,
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it, because that show was, I think people were looking for something to kind of cling on to. People were looking for like, what was the last big thing she did, and that was really it. It's often called her final concert. It actually wasn't her final concert. It was her final rodeo concert. My parents actually saw her 2 weeks after that back here in Houston. And I was supposed to go to that show and I didn't. So
why not?
You know why? Because she would come very frequently to Houston, right?
Yeah.
And aside from the rodeos, I mean, she was here almost every month, every other month. And I saw her a lot. I saw Selena 12, 13, 14 times, like at small clubs, I think I saw her once at a quinceañera. I mean, if you grew up around Tejano music and people like that, you would see them very frequently. So when my parents were going, I remember them asking me, are you going to come with us? And I said, no, I'll just go the next time.
Oh
and
my gosh.
There was no next time. I mean, I think about that all the time. And I remember my parents came home and they said that it was so packed, and they said there were guys standing on the tables, and she had on sort of a replica of the purple outfit, but it was green, and she had her hair pulled back. I remember all these details that my parents told me, and and
that is amazing.
It's incredible that, for so many reasons. But I think the reason the rodeo show just sticks out is because it was sort of the last big thing she did. I think now we know that was really the cusp of the launch of the next phase of her career, which was going to be in English, her big launch into, crossover superstardom as an English language singer. I mean, they had been working on an English language album. So I think that show really sort of showcased a lot of her potential in terms of that. And then the way that show has kind of been immortalized in so many ways. I mean, obviously in the movie with Jennifer Lopez, the Netflix series, they both recreated it. There was an official doll that was made at the time with that outfit on. And then it was released on vinyl. It was re-released. It was remastered. The concert was re-released. I mean, so it's kind of stayed in people's minds because every few years, something new comes out related to that. Yeah. I mean, I remember going out dancing to clubs, and that disco medley was remixed by a DJ. And I remember dancing to that.
Mark your calendars, invite your friends, and of course, put on your dancing boots for the second annual Big Barn Dance Music Festival in Bryan, Texas. This weekend music festival is going to feature some of the best songwriters and pickers in country, bluegrass, and Americana music. It's happening March 27th to the 29th, and it's all an easy drive from Houston, just an hour and change. The festival starts with the Big Barn Dance Songwriter Series in downtown Bryan. Then you can head to the main festival grounds at Travis Midtown Park for a seated listening experience. And hey, if you like dancing at music festivals like I do, they'll have a big dance floor to put those boots to use. And check this out, on Saturday, the entire festival grounds will turn into a dance hall so you can two-step the night away under the open Texas sky. Learn more and get your tickets now at destinationbryan.com. That's destinationbryan.com. Have you ever seen a podcast host race in a camel race? No? Well, you will see it on March 7th because you can come watch me ride a camel at the Sam Houston Race Park on Friday, March 7th for their annual camel race. Yes, you heard that right. I'll be racing on a camel, so come cheer me on. It's at Sam Houston Race Park. They're going to have camel and ostrich races on March 7th and 8th, but they also have exciting thoroughbred racing action every weekend, so you can get in on the fun. If that's not enough, every weekend Sam Houston Race Park has live music, drink specials, amazing food, and one of the best Sunday brunches around. Sundays in March are definitely family fun days, so your entire squad will have a great time. Looking for some plans this Saturday, March 1st? Save on admission, food, and more with their popular Dollar Night. Race in for all the excitement because there's always something happening at Sam Houston Race Park. Check out shrp.com for more details. When you walked in for that performance and you saw that outfit, can you describe it to me? The outfit itself is part of this iconic performance.
Absolutely. We were used to seeing her in, a bra bustier top with like leggings, sometimes a skirt. But this was different. It just felt more pop star. She actually designed it. It was a jumpsuit that kind of crisscrossed in the front, and it had like flared bell-bottom pants at the bottom. She had silver high heels on it, and it had like a little bolero jacket with it, which she took off. After the disco medley, she took it off. And it was just kind of this crisscross, like figure hugging, right? Yeah. Outfit that was like a deep purple color. I mean, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I mean, at the time, nobody was really wearing things like that. No. You see people today emulating that in a lot of ways. I mean, when Casey Musgraves did the rodeo, I know that her outfit was inspired by that. And she did a Selena song that year. So, we've seen people dress up for Halloween, Demi Lovato, Keke Palmer. Yeah. I mean, all these people. Yeah.
I think it's the outfit we think of when we think of Selena.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I was going into the 6th grade around that time, right? I remember it being a 6th grade boy. And you can imagine why it was such an incredible outfit for me. I'm like, who is this person? Like, she is so beautiful. The outfit just resonated. And this performance, right? Like, it was so legendary. It was so iconic. Yet, this is where my frustration comes in. And I know you're frustrated with this as well. When the rodeo announced this year's lineup for all the concerts, there was no tribute concert to honor the 30th anniversary of this iconic performance that goes hand in hand with the rodeo.
Yeah.
What happened?
I wish I could tell you. I mean, I would be very surprised if they hadn't at least attempted to do something. I mean, I know with something like this, there's probably a lot of moving parts. If they're going to involve the family, which I would obviously think they would, the family has to sign off on everything. The family has to approve everything. When it comes to her likeness and her name in that specific font, the signature, they own the rights to all of that. So all of that would have to be cleared with them. It could have just, I don't know. I feel like I am making excuses because I do feel like though there should have been something. Yeah.
You make it work. This is
somehow you do. Yeah. And even let's say for some reason you can't do a big thing inside the stadium, do it somewhere outside. I mean, do something. Do
a cover band, anybody. Just, you got to acknowledge the fact that this is one of the, if not the most iconic performance when you think about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Yes, George Strait, I think that's another one.
Sure.
But this one, to me, is like, for all of us, and by us, I mean minority kids, this is the one. And
It
like, I
is.
can't
It
believe they
is.
didn't do anything. If they did come to you and they're like, Joey, put together your dream lineup, put this show together for us, who are you putting on? On the spot, program this
I mean,
incredible concert
do it right
right
now.
now. Right
I mean,
now.
I think you would have to have Jennifer Lopez. She
Yeah.
immortalized it for a lot of people in the movie. She actually has performed with Selena's band. She did a tribute with them on an award show several years back. So she's done Selena songs. I think Jennifer Pena, who's a Tejano singer who's kind of making a comeback now, would be really great because she was sort of labeled the next Selena for a long time. I think La Mafia would be great.
Oh, man.
They did a big Selena tribute, not associated with the rodeo. At the 5-year anniversary, they did a huge Selena tribute at Energy Stadium that was aired on TV with Gloria Estefan, Thalia, all these like big, huge Latin stars. That was amazing to me. And they all did Selena songs. So I think maybe I would bring back some of those people. I would incorporate, though, a lot of Tejano acts because that is where she started.
Mhm.
And I think that's a lot of times the criticism of events like that they don't incorporate Tejano acts. So I would definitely incorporate La Mafia, Shelly Lares, who was one of her really good friends,
Yeah.
Jennifer Pena, Bobby Pulido. And then, be different. And yeah, I love when they have people that are unexpected. Put Cam Franklin and the Suffers in there, have them do a song,
Yeah, do a
like,
cover.
yeah, there's lots of creative things I think you could do with something like that. Becky G does a great Selena tribute. She did it at the rodeo.
I was going to ask you about Becky G. You got to include her. She's incredible.
Camila Cabello did a Selena song at the rodeo. Prince Royce did one. I would actually love to see, because I know she's a huge Selena fan, Cardi B, see what she could do with something.
Just take it off.
When she did the rodeo, she did a video backstage. They had a big picture of Selena on the wall, and she did a video talking about how Selena was her inspiration. And in the video she did with Bruno Mars, the outfit Cardi B is wearing is inspired by the Selena outfit that was in that photo. It was a purple jacket. So yeah. I think somebody like that, could be really cool to see what they could do,
It would have been so much fun. The fact that they're not doing it is, again, disappointing and heartbreaking because it's such an important thing. But nonetheless, we move on because, look, it is still popular. The rodeo is still one of our favorite things to do and experience here in Houston. It's our marquee event. And one of the most popular days is Go Tejano Day, right? It is so popular. You mentioned it. And some listeners may not realize, but Go Tejano Day is consistently one of the most popular days at the rodeo when it comes to attendance, when it comes to support. And yet, and it kind of like goes under the radar. What do you think people don't get about Go Tejano Day?
I think sometimes if it's something people don't understand, they sort of ignore it or brush it off or don't think it's important. If they don't speak Spanish, if they don't listen to the music, it's just not in their brain, right? I mean, more than half of the all-time attended shows in the history of the rodeo are Tejano. Especially in a city like Houston, though, I don't know why people would overlook something like that. I mean, I think that would tell them, this is who's bringing in the crowds. We need to book more acts like this. I mean, Go Tejano Day is one day. This year, there are 2 regional Mexican performers on 2 different days, which is nice. But just pure and simple, if you're looking at numbers, it's the biggest show of the year.
It should be Go Tejano weekend. Like, I'm serious, like dedicate an entire weekend. Make it a big celebration, right? And like, I know not to go on Go Tejano Day. It is packed, okay?
It is packed, yes.
If you want to go, don't go on Go Tejano Day unless, again, you're celebrating Go Tejano Day. Experience it. It's amazing. But an entire weekend would be great. And, the other thing I was thinking about, over the years, the rodeo has scaled back on booking women artists as well. And like, we're reflecting on Selena, this iconic performance from a woman. And you've written in the Houston Chronicle that they could showcase more Latino artists as well. When you consider all the great women artists who are superstars today, we didn't get Beyonce, but like, how about a Chappelle Rowan? How about some other Latino superstars? I know Bad Bunny, like, I would love him. He's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
This might be too small of a show, but do you feel like the rodeo is missing the mark when it comes to women artists and Latino artists and having them represented on this great stage?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the most frustrating things to me when I see this lineup is the lack of women. I mean, there are two women on the lineup this year, which is sort of which has been par for the course for several years, you know? Um, it is frustrating, especially in a city like Houston, if you're talking about Latino acts. I mean, obviously, I don't have to say this, but Houston has a huge Latino population.
Hmm.
You know, people go to these shows. I mean, these are people who sell out multiple nights at Toyota Center. I mean, there was a Mexican band that does romantic songs that I saw late last year. They did 3 shows at Toyota Center.
Wow.
Nobody does 3 shows. They do 2, maybe. I mean, 3 shows at Toyota Center to me is a huge deal because that doesn't happen a lot. And
Yeah.
you know, like I said, there's 2 regional Mexican acts on the lineup this year. You know, great, thank you. But I think we can do way better. And I think we can do much, much better in terms of women. I mean, one of the most attended shows of all time is Cardi B, you know,
Hmm.
and the most attended country show last year was Lainey Wilson, a woman. So I'm not sure what they're looking at or what
Yeah.
they're not getting, but
Is it like perception now? Because you think about all these great superstars, right? These women performers, they're incredible. Is it
Mhm.
just like perception? Like, oh, I can't be playing a 1 hour set at the Houston Rodeo. Like, is that it? Like, are they too big for it? The rodeo just like they're not even reaching out. They're like, there's no way they would perform here, right? For an hour. I don't know. Like, it's tough.
it is tough. I think some of it is perception in the way that country radio is not friendly to females, you know?
Hmm.
You would be hard pressed to hear 2 women in a row on a country radio station. It just doesn't happen. And
Wow.
that's been that's been decades, you know, that's
Hmm.
been going on forever. And even when you listen to country radio, there's maybe like 3 or 4 women you hear on a regular basis. I think that's part of the mindset, you know, oh, well,
Hmm.
they're not getting played on radio. So, but you're really not catering to a huge portion of the audience that wants to see a lot of these artists. I mean, there are so many women who I think could play the rodeo, could do great at rodeo, country and otherwise, not just country, you
Yeah.
know. That's always been a huge argument of mine is we just don't see enough women on that lineup.
Yeah. We don't.
I mean, there's 20 acts and you're giving women 2 slots. That's a tenth of the lineup. That's crazy.
Like beyond just the obvious, like, come on, there's just not enough representation there.
Yeah.
It to me, it's just bad business as well because
Yeah.
there are so many popular female artists that would draw, right? And make it a big
Absolutely.
celebration every night. Like it's just bad marketing.
I mean, some of the biggest shows that I've seen there have been women. Obviously,
Mhm.
Beyonce. Ariana Grande is one of the most attended shows ever. It's like in the top 20, you know. Miley Cyrus broke records. Miley Cyrus broke the speakers because the crowd was so loud.
Yeah, I
I
remember
remember that so clearly. You know, the speakers stopped working because they said the crowd got too loud and they busted. And
That's so crazy.
it's crazy, right? I mean, so there are women who people are enthusiastic about, who
Mhm.
people will go see, who will sell tickets. You know, we see that with acts that come through different venues, with people that come to Toyota Center.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could book those acts at Rodeo and they would easily sell out.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with a Business Unlimited smartphone plan. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second internet plan with savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I want to go back to Selena real quick. She was actually born and raised not too far from here in Lake Jackson. And then her family moved to Corpus Christi because of the 1980s oil bust. And of course, Corpus Christi owns the, like Selena legacy, and that's fine. But
yeah,
we own some of it as well here in the city of Houston. Outside of the rodeo, how would you put Selena in the greater context of Houston?
I mean, I think Selena was, at least for me, a huge part of my upbringing, my musical upbringing. I mean, like I said, I saw her so many times here in town. It was just a place that she, I think, probably felt comfortable in, a place that she played here a lot, a place that she got good crowds. I mean, I saw her at clubs. I saw her at outdoor festivals. I saw her at free festivals. I mean, I would go with my little disposable camera and take pictures.
No way. That's so cool.
Yeah. And I mean, do
you still have the pictures?
I do. I actually
do.
Yes, I need to find them. I put some online a couple years ago. But yeah, I think Houston is a huge part of what sort of cemented her legacy as a performer, as a live performer. I mean, Houston is a big city. Houston at the time was big for Tejano. La Mafia is based in Houston, who's one of the biggest Tejano acts. So I think, it was an important place for her to sort of, find her footing as a live performer, and then, I mean, I know she had friends here and things like that. So there's lots of things that connected her. Obviously, you said the 3 rodeo shows, which each year, each one of those shows broke the attendance record at the time. So,
that's amazing.
I mean, those are huge milestones for her. So, yeah, I think Houston is probably second to Corpus Christi. I know some people want to say San Antonio, but no.
Yeah, San Antonio's raising their hands like, hey, don't forget about us, okay? Because we want some of this as well. And, and certainly iconic performances there as well. Can you tell me about the first time you ever listened to one of Selena's songs and like how it made you feel?
I feel like all of these stories sound like I'm making them up because they all feel so. I didn't really listen to Spanish language music a lot initially. It just wasn't my thing, and I think part of it was my dad listened to a lot of Tejano music, and I think it was just sort of the normal cliche thing of, I don't want to listen to what my parents do, So I really pulled away from it, and I didn't listen to it. I didn't like it. I did when I was really small, but as I got into like middle school and things, it just wasn't, quote unquote cool. And my dad we would get into arguments because he would say, why don't you listen to Spanish music? It's your heritage and blah, blah, blah. And, I just didn't. And then I just remember one day we were watching TV and Selena was performing on a TV show. And I was just like, who's that? And I think I may have asked my dad, and I was like, who's that? And it was interesting to me because she was different. She had a lot of the markings of a pop singer, of a pop star, which made her different. And my parents went to the store and I asked them to buy me the Selena CD that was out at the time. And that was the first real sort of thing I did in terms of Spanish language music. They went to the store, bought the CD, came back, and that was it. I mean, I listened to that CD over and over and over and over. I memorized every song, and it just went from there. And that for me sort of opened the door to all Spanish language music.
Yeah. Which CD was it, by the way?
It was called Entra a mi mundo. It was the one with Como la Flor. And I mean, that was literally it. I mean, that opened a door for me. And I started going with my friends to see her in concert. Wow. I started listening to other artists, just sort of becoming entrenched, I think, in the culture of Tejano music specifically. And, now today, I mean, I probably listen to Spanish music just as much or more than I listen to English music. And a lot of that, if not all of it, has to do with Selena because, I think she really showed me that it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't matter who thinks it's cool or who listens to it or who doesn't. It's really about if you listen to it, if you like it, if you respond to it. I mean, that's what it is.
Joey, thank you so much. I know it's going to be a busy upcoming few weeks for you here. You're going to be at every concert, reviewing every show. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was Joey Guerra. He's covering every single concert at the rodeo, so make sure you check his reviews out in the Houston Chronicle with the link in our show notes. I know we have a lot of Selena fans listening to the show, so please share this episode with 3 other fans who miss La Reina. Also, drop us a rating and review wherever you listen, and please subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already so you can be in the know with everything happening in H-Town. Want even more rodeo news and tips? We got you covered in our daily newsletter, Hey Houston. Newsletter editor Brooke Lewis is putting out awesome history, food recs, and more. Subscribe at houston.citycast.fm. Thanks. All right, it's time for your daily rodeo tip. Before we go, I know you want to enjoy those rodeo vibes with live music, great food, and art all year long. Well, you need to check out the legendary First Friday in Bryan, Texas. They're doing that every first Friday of the month. Downtown Bryan transforms into a mini festival featuring musical performances, art demonstrations, and tons of family-friendly activities. Learn more at destinationbryan.com. That will do it for today. I'm Rahil Ramzan Ali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.